So these events may not have led the nightly news, they might not have had dramatic footage and no viral meltdown in Congress, but this week, 3 quiet moves slipped through the noise, and each one is reshaping the foundations beneath us. Let's walk through what we might have missed in this past week. First, the Department of Justice asked the U.S. attorneys across the country to report examples of what they're calling unusual judicial system obstacles. It's not corruption, not misconduct, just rulings or delays that got in the way, especially in cases tied to immigration enforcement and assaults on federal agents or investigations into groups labeled antifa. And that might sound procedural, but step back for a moment. This could function as a list, a way to flag judges who've pushed back, a pattern map of resistance inside the courts. And it echoes older moments when presidents looked at the judiciary and asked, how do we get around this? FDR tried to pack the court. After 9/11, critics warned the government was venue shopping for friendlier rulings. And the founders gave us 3 branches for a reason. 1 to write the laws, 1 to enforce them, and 1 to say, stop, that crosses the line. And when that last branch is tracked and categorized and quietly mapped, we should pay attention. And next, the agency created to protect people in the financial system, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, just proposed walking back a key civil rights tool. It's called disparate impact. It lets regulators challenge lending practices that result in discriminatory outcomes, even if no one explicitly was meant to discriminate. That doctrine has helped expose patterns in mortgage denials or credit scoring, and who gets told no, especially for women or communities of color and people shut out of traditional finance for whatever reason. The proposed rule says that's no longer authorized under law, and it pulls back support for credit programs meant to serve underserved communities. Take that away, and regulators lose a lens. Whole neighborhoods can be harmed with no clear recourse. And we've seen this kind of rollback before too, after Reconstruction, after the Civil Rights era, and after the Great Recession. Those were moments when new rights were secured and then slowly narrowed under the banner of reform. Because fairness takes constant tending, and power, left unchecked, tends to circle back toward itself. And finally, a technical change in the rules that govern big banks. Regulators are moving to ease a rule that requires major banks to hold capital, even against safe assets like U.S. Treasuries. Banks say it frees up their balance sheets. Oh, lucky them. But critics warn it lowers the guardrails. And at a time when government debt is sky high and interest rates are still climbing, what could go wrong? We put that rule in place after 2008 to avoid a repeat, and to make sure banks didn't get so stretched that the whole system just snapped. Back then, the bailouts were real. Taxpayers covered losses. And even though some programs were repaid on paper, the ripple effects never fully left us. And now, we're loosening those same guardrails again. So 3 stories, and I would argue 1 theme. A slow shift of power away from courts that check, away from laws that protect, and away from rules that stabilize. And moving toward institutions that shape outcomes behind closed doors. No press conferences, no public debate, just a memo at Justice, or a rule book at the CFPB, or a spreadsheet at the Fed. That's how systems change. Not all at once, but quietly and steadily, right under our feet. So here's the question. What else are we missing while the noise gets louder and the structure keeps right on trucking. Let me know what you're seeing out there.